really happy to be with you here today. And before I will introduce the title that you know, I just wanted to make a few words and a small introduction about our team and me, just to make a proper background for this presentation. Okay, so I came from Warsaw, from ATGames. It's a small mobile company. We're focused on the mobile market, and we're a game development and publishing company. So no matter if you're developers that want to create something and looking for a publisher, or you're just looking for a place for you, you can just write me or call me or just come after the presentation and we can talk about your future. One thing, sorry that I'll be looking sometimes on my screen, but I have my notes and it will be a little bit easier for me just to keep talking using my notes. We're creating games since 2010. And we have got published titles on App Store, Google Play, and Windows Store. Maybe something new will come in the future. What is the most important thing about our company? Is that we are a bunch of guys, a creative team that are creating the games that we're proud of, and this is our mission, our mantra. And I know in a small organization talking about the mission, it's probably weird, but this is something that is base for us, and I hope that no matter how huge you are, no matter you are a small developer or medium or you're a city project or Ubisoft or Epic or no matter what it is, you've got this one thing inside your head that is the most important for you. As I said, we're creating games that we are proud of, and if you are not familiar with our titles, the first game developed and published by ATGames was the Mooniacs. Pretty simple game. It wasn't a huge hit, but it was a good start for the company. The second one, probably one of the biggest brand of ATGames, was Puzzlecraft. And at the beginning, it was a premium game, a mixture of match-3 mechanics with kingdom building game. And it goes pretty good on App Store. We've been partners of Chilingo that published our game, and it was pretty good. In 2012, we get App Store Best of 2012, and it was great honor for us. Another title was Another Case Solved, and probably from the financial and marketing point of view, Another Case Solved was the greatest hit of ATGames. It was story-driven and match-3 game, so totally different approach for match-3 games. We knew how to build proper match-3 games from Puzzlecraft, and we wanted to create something totally different, because casual market is filled with simple match-3 games. For instance, Candy Crush Saga, which of course is great in some areas, but we wanted to create something totally different, and Another Case Solved was born. And in comparison to Puzzlecraft, Another Case Solved get Editor's Choice all over the world, foremost in USA, and as you probably understand, this is the most important thing for a small developer studio to just gain people to their game. And the third title was Puzzlecraft 2, that was released on App Store, Google Play, and Windows Store, so we went wide. And from the hit point of view, I mean financial, reviews, marketing, and general, maybe Puzzlecraft 2 wasn't the greatest game that we've created from this point of view, but from the content point of view and from the time point of view, this was the huge sequel and something that we are really proud of in terms of large games on mobile. And currently, we are in the middle of the development of Full of Stars, and this is something new for us because it's first time real-time gameplay. Previously we created match-3 games, and now we're just trying to fight with something totally different. But in this case, we are also trying to get something from our previous titles, something that we learned before. And in case of Full of Stars, it's a story-driven part, because this is a story-driven adventure game that will be also endless. So we hope that it will be unique. Full of Stars will be released next year, and if you would like to play it before the release and give us feedback, feel free to ping me, and I'll for sure share you iOS version or Android version in the future. And because we're going wide, we met two guys in Krakow on Digital Dragons, and we played this game, Laser Kitty Pow Pow, that it's that's totally different game than Full of Stars, because Full of Stars is it's a dinner, and the Laser Kitty Pow Pow is like jelly beans. So it's super fast arcade game, and this is our first title that we are publishing. So this is our first publisher deal. And we hope that this is also future for our company, and I highly suggest to search for Laser Kitty Pow Pow because it's really great. And few words about me, just to give you a background of my experience, because I'm not kind of guy like Maciek that lived for 30 or 20 years in game development. I'm a guy with 5 years experience in game development, and because of that I thought that it's a good place to start and to say something about my knowledge, experiences, and I hope good practices inside the game development. I started my career in a game development as a game developer, as a programmer, as a student in Łódź University of Technology. And what is funny about this part is that I make a circle, because now I'm a game development consultant in Łódź at the University of Technology, and I'm really proud that I'm part of this community. Just after this, I joined Vivid Games. I've been a head of studio of Vivid Games in Łódź and producer there. It was a huge challenge for me just after studies to run a team and build new team in different city, just 200 kilometers from headquarters. So it was a huge challenge. After 2 years, I moved to ATGames, and right now I'm here as a senior producer. So, what I wanted to tell you today is 7 deadly sins of pre-production, and I'm doing it because day by day, as a producer, I'm thinking how to improve the production, the team, how to help my team to build better games, how to help them to work without crunch, without problems, or just solve them problems. And what I learned from those 5 years is that the most of problems have beginning during the pre-production, and it's really hard to be a producer in a small team. When it's creative, sometimes they don't need the producer, but my role is to find the weak spots, and this is presentation about those weak spots. And the story started, the story of those 7 scenes started with Puzzlecraft 2, because this was my first project in ATGames that I've been doing almost from the beginning. And one day at the post-mortem of Puzzlecraft, which was a huge game, a really huge game for mobile, I saw that the call version was delayed also almost 3 times, and in a matter of scope and time, it was delayed around 12 months. So for the mobile game, it's a lot. I mean, it's pretty a lot when you've got 12-month development cycle. Another 12 months it's a lot, and from the business perspective, it's a problem. So I've been trying to figure it out what is going on, and we just finished our post-mortem with a conclusion that I know it's trivial, but it's really good to produce the game when you really know what you want to achieve. I mean, if you really know your game and you know what to produce, because producing the game is not a creation of the game, and those are totally different processes. So we started, because after Puzzlecraft 2 we started Full of Stars, but in the meantime we've been also producing Puzzlecraft 2 updates. We just tried to change our process. So we planned a little bit more specific updates for Puzzlecraft 2. We gave a little bit more time for design, for pre-production, to check how it works. Is the feature that we want to implement in the update is really fun, or this is just our imagination? And how we achieve that, I mean, how it works. And this is the main, this will be the, this presentation will be the answer for this question, how it works in Puzzlecraft 2 in terms of our experience and my previous experience in other companies, how to avoid those 7 sins of pre-production. And before I start, I wanted to tell that there's one pretty important inspiration for this talk, and if you don't know this guy, it's Mark Cerny. He's connected with Sony. He's been game designer, producer, executive producer, business executives in a lot of titles and companies. And few months ago, I saw his talk on DICE 2010 probably, or 2012, named The Method. And if you're not familiar with this talk, I can guarantee that Mark's talk is 5,000 better than my talk, and this talk is just an inspiration of his, but he gave me understanding what is really a difference between pre-production and production inside the game, and this is kind of a tribute to Mark. So let's start with the first scene, the most obvious scene, and it's natural for some companies that they're not doing the pre-production, and from my point of view, it started at the beginning of my career, where I've been a noob in game development. I get a project and I wanted to get a result as fast as I can, so I just wanted to finish it. Just, okay, let's start, let's do it, and just deliver. And because of that, as I was unable to predict the effects in terms of time, so I was unable to predict when the project will be finished, and also from the point of view of quality, I was unable to predict what will be the quality that we want to achieve, or what is even our goal. And we started with iOS and Android porting, so porting games between platforms, and we just skipped the pre-production part. It's kind of obvious probably for you that, okay, it's just porting. You know the game, you know the product, you know what to do, but no matter what it is it creating new game or just porting, the pre-production phase, it's something crucial. And we just found that we're just crunching for 2 or 3 weeks just because we didn't prepare it. And if you don't believe me, just try to imagine a workout without proper warm-up. If you're going to the gym and trying to do something with yourself and doing it without warm-up, it can cause you a lot of injuries. And pre-production is some kind of workout when you're preparing to the proper exercises. And the same goes with game development. I mean, this is the same. And consequence of no pre-production in my case was a lot of crunch. I mean, for porting, you can imagine that it's 2 or 3 weeks in terms of 2 or 3 months project. So it's not a lot. But when you're trying something new and entirely new, and you don't know your project, you don't know the game, you don't know the feelings, you don't understand what is the fun inside your game, there could be a lot more. And if there's a lot of stories, I see faces from game development, so I know that most of you are familiar with crunch and problem with sitting 10, 20 hours inside your office 7 days a week. So I know that those guys understand, but if you're starting your career in game development, in most of times you just don't know how it works. And I want to tell you that if you're starting something completely new, it's crucial to know your enemy. I mean, in terms of knowing the game that you want to create. And lack of pre-production leads to a lot of internal problems with technology, with design, but also with team organization. So it's pretty easy to solve it, but I wanted to say it at the beginning, just do the pre-production. But doing the pre-production, just doing the pre-production, it's easy to say, but it's a little bit harder to execute in a proper way. And even if your CEO or director of development, or even all of your leads, if you're a producer, if they are telling you that, oh no man, you don't need the pre-production, we don't need it, it's obvious. The game or the port or something else, it will be obvious. We know what we want to do because we created 100-page document and we know everything. It's not, you need to do this, because pre-production gives you answer for two key questions. First of all, what you need to do. The first question is, what do you really want to do? What is the game? How it feels, how it looks. And the second question is, how you want to achieve it. So what is the path to your goal? And if you don't know those two answers, there is no point to finish the pre-production. And I know how it works. Sometimes CEO or other business guy came to you and say, okay, it's time to finish the pre-production, you just need to go with the game. But sorry guys, it's a bullshit. It's a wrong CEO, not this time. So how to do it properly? And one more thing before we go to another scene, it's if you're a business guy right now and you've got your own company, you're the owner, and you're deciding about production, pre-production, about small team, just imagine that investing more money or more time in pre-production is about to not spend it or spend a lot more during the production. And this is the most important thought for the business guys, to just understand how it works. You just need to know about this. So how to pre-produce the game in a proper way? Let's face the second scene, and we know that we want to do the pre-production, but doing it without any concrete goals, it's probably it's pointless. And there's even for senior developers and guys with a lot of experience doing proper pre-productions, it's really hard. And as I said before, sometimes someone external, I mean CEO or director of development, comes to you and say, okay, enough, you start doing the game. And maybe it's not a moment to start the production, but it's a moment to cancel a game, because canceling the games isn't bad. I mean, it's not a sign of the bad management, it's just a sign of the bad game, and it's normal. Not all ideas are good. And what we've done with Full of Stars, I'll be referring to our current project and previous, because we're not without any scenes. What we've done in Full of Stars, we thought at the beginning, okay, now we don't want to do this the same way as we done it in Puzzlecraft, and we started the pre-production. We've just been trying to explore all design, art, and technology issues, but unfortunately, our pre-production was a disaster for Full of Stars. And it's because that we didn't know what we want to achieve. We've been going around in a circle month by month, trying to find all the answers. But the problem was that we didn't make proper statement for questions. And when you're looking for answers without questions, without making a questions, you're just falling into the trap of the endless pre-production. So you're just changing and changing and changing and changing, and you're still iterating it. And sometimes you can, as a manager or as a producer, you can feel that team is wasting your time and money. But sometimes it's not a problem of a team. Sometimes it's a problem of a communication or something else. And for the full of stars, there will be last thing at the end of my presentation that will solve the clue of the problem of our pre-production. But in our case, this lack of goal leads to project delays. So unfortunately, Full of Stars will be delayed in terms of the first date, and a lot of frustration, a lot of frustration inside the team. And what the most important consequence of bad pre-production for us was it was removing the time for polishing, and it will probably lower the quality, because the concept was great, but we still don't know how to execute it proper, because we are still iterating some core features and core systems, and it is the endless pre-production. So how to solve the problem? How to solve the problem of the goal? I mean, it's easy, just mark the goal. Everyone can tell you that. But I said at the beginning that the pre-production is done before you need to know what to do and how to achieve it. And as part of the inspiration of presentation of Mark Cerny, I want to introduce you with a concept of the method of the pre-production that he introduced. I mean, it's about getting two things done during pre-production. And the first thing is a publishable first playable. And the publishable first playable, it's part of the game, a slice of heaven, as he called it, part of a game that shows all global features, I mean all global systems and all local systems in terms of, I don't know, one level. So imagine that you're creating, for instance, level-based game, and getting to the end of pre-production in this method, this definition, and creating publishable first playable is creating one entirely working level. Entirely, I mean with technology, with features, with characters, with movement, with totally everything. And it differs the prototype, which you see, it differs the prototype with a level of polish. I mean, with the level of quality that you want to set in your game. Because prototyping is about looking for answers for totally different questions. I mean, you're just exploring, and then you're going to prototype to find the sweet spot in terms of often features. So is it fun? Is it good locally? But you need to combine all those features, content, to build one playable game or part of the game named first playable that's that will be worth founding and starting the production. And this is one thing, and this is probably the best way to document whole game, just to prepare part of the game that is playable and fun. And the second thing is macro design. And I'm not I was a fan of documentation, but after 5 years in game development, I just changed my mind. It's quite normal. I know that documentation is important, and I will tell about it in the next few slides. But there is one thing that is important during pre-production in terms of documentation, and it's macro design. And it's important to name it macro design, not micro design, because you're just trying to set a scope for the game. I mean, by the end of the pre-production, you just need to know if you have 5 levels, 10 characters, how many movement sets you get, how many weapons you got. And when you're at this point, so when you know how big the game is and what is the quality, it's super easy for a guy like me, I mean a producer, to plan the production. So to plan everything that you want to produce, because not create, produce. And this is really important difference. And when you got these 2 elements, you first of all, you know how the gameplay works, and this is the most important. You know, is the game fun and is it unique? And you know how it is unique, not just on the sheet of paper, but inside the game. You just know how it is which way it is unique. And you know how it looks, how it feels, and what are the feelings inside you as a gamer connected with this game. And what is most important difference between, as I said, between prototype and first playable, and you should remember about this, because we forget about this in a Full of Stars, it's technology. You need to set your technology to be sure that you're able to produce this concept and this technology. And when you will be in this point, it's super easy to finish the game. In case of problem, you can just cut 1 or 2 levels. I know that it's silly, but it's a fact. And when we are talking about planning and scheduling, there's no end there. Planning and scheduling the creation. When we are talking about planning, I would like to tell about planning and scheduling during the pre-production, and this third scene that I found in my experience. I've been working in companies that would like to know at the beginning of the project or of the development cycle when the game will be released. And I totally understand the business point of view. I mean, I know that you need to, as the owner of the company, for instance, you need to budget development team. You need to know how much money you have to produce the game, etc., etc. So I understand you business guys, but I also understand the development team. Okay, 10 minutes less, so fucking awesome. I understand the development team, and I understand that creation is something that you just can't predict. You just can't plan the inspiration. I mean, you can plan the moment when you'll just find another great idea? No, not. I mean, of course you can help the process. I mean, you can research your market. You can make brainstorming on, or just drinking a lot with your friends, or sitting in a toilet. Just there's a lot of ways just improving this process. But if I would ask myself, when you will find another inspiring and totally unique idea for something, I will just say, fuck, I don't know. I just don't know. It's a matter of experience. It's a matter of team. It's a matter of magic inside the place and a lot of luck. So if you think that that is possible to plan the beginning of the game development cycle named pre-production, you're wrong. And planning it leads to a lot of frustration between 2 sides, and I mean between game development team and the business team. And I see it a lot, so this is true, and this is a disaster, because development team is focused on delivering milestone, not on creating something new and unique. They are thinking how to get shit done as soon as possible in terms of milestone and production cycle. So they have, for instance, they have milestone. Okay, we've got core gameplay, and we've got 2 months to do the core gameplay, to find a way to do the fun core gameplay. And after 2 months, we're playing, and damn, it's just not fun. It's just not unique. But we run out of time. So what to do? And then we're going to the business team, and we're saying that, you know, guys, we've got core gameplay. Yes, it is. But still, we don't believe it. And the business guys are happy, or because we delivered something, but the quality is low. Or from the other point of view, we're going to them and saying, damn, we just didn't manage to do this. And they're totally frustrated because at the beginning, after first 2 months of the development cycle, that will be, for instance, 24, we are delayed, and there's no way to just squeeze the plan. No way, because there's a lot of questions. So, if you don't want to answer during the pre-production, always answer the question why you missed the deadline day by day. Just leave and planning and scheduling at the beginning. It's not worth. And of course, it's easy to say, don't plan, don't schedule, just give the development time. And it's hard to accept it, but and in most cases it's a matter of money, because business guys are thinking about money, and they are afraid that we just won't deliver. But if you don't believe me, and if you don't believe that you need to fail fast, because it's important for development team at the beginning to check things as fast as they can and fail as fast as they can to find the best features, the best ideas, etc. If you don't understand, if you don't believe me, just look how the Supercell works. It works in way of small teams, and they are killing a lot of projects, a lot of games. During last 2 years, and this is a part of the presentation from GDC, during last two years, they released Clash Royale. They killed 2 projects on soft launch, and almost 9 or 7 games during the development. And I know, now you will say, they have a lot of money, but they also been starting at some point, and they started with the same method, just killing the games that they don't believe and finding the better way. And I just want to say, for the development team, believe in your gut and believe in what you're creating, and be honest with yourself about the quality you're delivering. And for the business guys, I want to say, hey, just focus at the beginning, just focus on finding the money, not looking at the development team, because they know what to do. When we are talking about productive pre-production, there's a fear about throwing out content. I mean, a lot of managers are afraid that we created something during pre-production and we're just throwing away. And you can say that that throwing is a sin, but real sin of the pre-production is feared about throwing. It's because you're just changing your mind. I mean, you're creating something new and something unique, and you at the beginning you don't know what you want to achieve. You just need to find it. And in most cases, it leads to strengthening the control, so the managers are trying to check what is going on, and if we are doing everything productive, but doing something productive during the pre-production is something totally different than doing things productive during production, and this is something totally different. And if we are starting control, in most cases it's hard to create something unique. Why? Because development team, because it leads to fear of failure and fear of taking chances, and development team just want to go the safe path. And unfortunately, the only way to change it is to educate your manager. So I mean, you just need to sit with them and say, guys, this is the moment when you're throwing things away, and it's normal because your team can change your mind during pre-production. I'm not saying that you're creating first-person shooter and then you're creating racing game. I mean, this different case, but I mean small features that are changing. Technology is changing. You're preparing better and better way to produce something in the future. And this is from the business point of view, but for the developer team, it's crucial to educate them how to get shit done as fast as they can. I mean, pre-production is a phase when you need to check something in a day, maybe in a week. But if designer came to you during pre-production and saying, okay, I need a huge system and we will know the results of our, and I'm talking from the perspective of small mobile games. If your designer coming to you and want to tell you that you need a month to create whole system and a lot of technology to check one feature, this is a bullshit. Just rethink your strategy, because if you want to check things in a monthly cycle, it's waste of time. And if we are talking about designers, sometimes there are fans of documentation, but I hope that there's not a lot of those here. There's another scene to know everything, all details during pre-production. And of course, there's a fear at the beginning that we need to know everything about our game, but it leads in most cases to a tons of documentation. And the problem with documentation, I don't want to tell that don't create documentation. I want to tell you that there's a most common problem with documentation. Nobody reads it, and it's just happened. People don't like to read a book, so why they should read your 100-page document? There's no point to read it, because they can play first playable and understand how the game works. And creating such documents leads to another problems between development and business. Everybody thinks that having 100-page document leads to know everything, and this imagination leads to a misleading feeling that the plan you have at the beginning of the pre-production is realistic, and there's no point to think about this in this way. And I don't want to say that you don't need documentation. It's pretty good to archive some assumptions. I mean, when you do the first playable, you can just create 5-page document, describe what was your decision, what are key motivation inside your game, and done. You're just adding to this micro design, so the scope of the game, and you just know everything to start game development. And as I said, to solve problem of documentation is pretty easy. Just switch your strategy. Don't use it. Let's use documentation as an archive, not a notebook for all details. And this will help you a lot. Okay, you see that I've got 5 minutes. I'm starting to speed up. Another sin is frequent milestone reviews, and probably you're familiar with that. The business, marketing, or production want to see your results, but in most of cases it's unnecessary evil to do this. It's because they don't understand in most cases, because they are not sitting in the game development. They don't understand the term work in progress, and pre-production is always work in progress. I mean, of course it's important to finish at some point, but your team is changing things day by day, and if you introducing them reviews or milestone week by week or month by month, it's pointless. I don't know what those guys want to achieve, and the only possible answer is that they want to have control. And as I said before, control it's not going align with creativity. And the better solution than milestone and reviews is create a proper goal. I mean, we want first playable, publishable, first playable, and you as the team should say to me in a proper moment what's going on. I mean, when is the best moment to see the first playable. And the last one, the most important thing that's shown us that the team is our core value is lack of chemistry in a relationship. And you can be a really experienced developer. You can think that you create a lot of games, and it's true, and they could be high quality. But if there's no chemistry between you and your teammate, fuck, you just won't finish the game at the proper level of quality or without delaying the project. And it's important, and I wanted to tell you that if you would like to create a game with someone, just look for the people that you like, you want to spend time with them. And I know it's obvious, but it helps you a lot when you want to achieve a goal. And from the organization point of view, it's a lot easier to solve communication problems and organization problems when you've got a bunch of people that just like to work with themselves. So, to sum up, if you went to the road of pre-production and you just decided, okay, I just have to do this. I just have to do this. You need to remember that pre-production is creative chaos. I mean, there is a way to manage it, but it's always changing. And if you're thinking about high quality games, you just need to understand that. And to manage this creative chaos, probably one of the solutions is to set clear goals. And for me, clear goals is about first playable, as I said, publishable first playable that shows emotions inside the game and shows what you want to achieve. And macro design that shows you scope. So it will be super easy to plan everything if you understand how the game works and how big the game will be. And the process of pre-production is about throwing and iterating and building upon something that is good. And sometimes, in some cases, in some points, you just need to throw what isn't good, what is not fun and just sucks. And it's normal because we're creating entertainment, and sometimes our ideas just sucks. And the last thing, you need a great team. And I don't want to tell that it's a great team in a term of experience, because it's hard to have team only with 10 years development experience, but I'm talking about the team that just like to work with each of them. And beside this knowledge, beside this one, we also make some mistakes during the pre-production of Full of Stars. So don't want to tell you now that I know everything, and it's not a place to do that, because everyone are doing mistakes. But what I wanted to tell you, and this was the most important thing of this talk, I just want to show you what problems we have, and I hope that you will be able to avoid them. And because of that, because of this creative chaos process, I want to leave you with my favorite Steve Jobs quotes: stay hungry, stay foolish, and do the fucking awesome things. Thank you. If you have any questions, as I see you've got maybe 4 minutes, maybe. Questions can be in Polish and English. I can answer in English. Okay, Grzegorz, feel free.
So hi, thank you for the talk. And
Thank you.
I agree with you about the goals and the prototype that you need to create it, but you don't create the game for the team or for the business guys. You are making the game for the players. So if you have the prototype in the pre-production state, so what about the players? You don't want to have a feedback from them?
Thank you. From my point of view, for the prototype, it's not a good moment. I mean, the best moment to show the game to the customers is the publisher first playable, I mean, end of pre-production. Why? Because, as you probably know from the jobs or Ford approach, customers don't know what they want. You need to show what they want. So everyone will tell you, oh, I need a faster horse, not I need a car. So first of all, you need to create something you believe, you think is awesome, it's fun and unique. And when it's on the in the point that you can show to someone, I mean, in terms of my method, publishable first playable, then you can show this. And it's also a good moment to show this to the publisher. And it's also a good moment to show it to business guys to tell, okay, we know how the game works, and now it's moment to decide if you will found us a production and a whole team, etc., etc. This, because as I said, it's about investing money at the beginning, not to spend money during the production, because it's not easy to kill the project during the production when you invest a lot, but it's really easy to kill something at the beginning. But it's also a fear to not to kill too fast. And this is the moment of publisher first playable. So you need to have a proper quality to show. Thanks.
Hi.
I'm looking for you.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
I would like to ask about agile project management for game development, like Scrum, for example. How do you use it in game development? Or let's say that you finished pre-production, you have a GDD, right? And how do you convert it to user stories and so on and so on, so that it doesn't fall apart instantly? Like, because it's not so easy, because you have the art team, the dev team, the programming team, and the sound team, and so on. And when you write user stories, you basically have all these topics packed into one story. So how do you divide all this? Yeah.
Thanks. So I've been a fan of Scrum methodology. But to be really honest, in each company I worked in didn't work in the way I wanted to work. But if you're asking how to convert the pre-production and the GDD, which we don't have in most cases, into the Scrum methodology, there are two answers. First side is huge company like CD Projekt Red, and I don't have experience from that kind of companies, so I just want to tell you, I don't know. It's probably hard, but you need to divide your huge team in small teams that are able to produce features. And if you'd like to go this way, there is awesome book named Agile Development in Agile in Game Development. More sure that on Amazon, and there are 3 strategies about dividing teams into the feature teams, task teams, and probably, I don't know. I'm not the kind of specialist of a huge team organization because I don't have experience with that. And for the smaller teams, it's super easy. Just work with yourself. I mean, you've got a bunch of 10 peoples. There's no problem to divide the team to 2 teams or 3 small teams and work with them. But the most important is what is your organization, because culture in each organization doesn't fit into the Scrum methodologies. Because in Scrum, you've got one product owner, and for a feature or for a user story, sorry, and for instance, in our culture, there are always two owners because there's a designer and there's for instance, lead designer and art director, and they got final say about each thing. So producing something in a clean way of agile is hard. My tip for producers or guys that want to build this kind of organization is just create your own process, because Scrum is just a framework. It just gives you some basics, and it's good to start with all of those things. And this is what I'm learning at Technical University, the basis, so how to start. But when you get involved in the process and you understand the process, you can build your own. And in my opinion, this is the best way, because culture depends, process depends on culture, not backwards.
Hi, again. Can you share your thoughts about this scene of not throwing things and more precisely throwing away code? Because there is a scene some companies do where code makes it from pre-production, from prototype to the final product. And well, I would like to hear your thoughts. Or did you had any cases, any experience?
Yeah, I've got a lot of cases when the prototype code goes to the final version. I mean, this is, I know, and Full of Stars we've got flight prototype scene, so I don't know how it works. But if you want to avoid this problem for programmers, I think the easiest way is to create branch. I mean, there's if you're working with SVN or Git technologies, it's super easy. So you're doing one line with a game that it's going to be this first playable. I mean, this is our main game. But if a designer or art director want to prototype something, you have another path, and it's prototype path. I mean, the second game, and you're checking their things. And if your process is built in this way, you just need to rewrite or merge code to the trunk to get the result into the main line. And this leads us to rewriting things during this merging. So designer won't send you that, okay, it's ready, it works, there's nothing that we need to do. No. Programmer will say, I need to merge this, and because I will merge this, I will rewrite something. I will build a proper system on top of this. And this is from the code perspective, and from the art perspective, it's just about throwing things away. I mean, it changes, it changes. And our art director was really upset after Puzzlecraft 2 that we haven't used all the puzzles that they created, the concepts. And from the drawing point of view, I mean, this case, it was good. I mean, not everything need to be put into the game, and this is quite normal. We created 120 puzzles and finished with maybe 50 puzzles inside the game. So it's a lot. It's a huge percentage of created work. But the real problem in this area was that it was finished puzzles from the art point of view. So if they are just concepts and you've got the process during pre-production that you are doing something really fast, not waiting for a ready character for a month, just taking biped, giving textures and trying new things, it's okay. But if you're throwing really finished assets, I mean finished in all terms, it's weird. And always in my case, it just lights me a light, red light or orange light in my